There is a kind of people who seem immune to breaking. They go through crises, their attempts are thwarted, they are misunderstood, and doors close in their faces, one after the other. Yet you see them standing, steadfast and unshaken, not because their life is easy, but because they have understood something that others have not yet grasped. Most people live life as if they are sensitive receptors to everything happening around them. It's enough for someone to ignore them for them to feel unimportant. A passing glance from a stranger unsettles their confidence. A single word of criticism wounds them as if it were an arrow. They are in a constant state of reaction. Their emotions are driven by external factors as if the entire world controls their mood. On the other hand, those who are not shaken by storms were not born stronger, but became so when they chose to understand themselves instead of blaming the world. Carl Jung said, "What we do not face within ourselves will appear in our lives as fate." Here, fate does not mean its metaphysical sense, but the reality we create with our own hands when we run away from confronting ourselves. Because everything we refuse to see within us reappears externally in the form of crises, difficult relationships, or recurring emotions that hurt us inexplicably. The core idea is that what hurts us externally is often a reflection of something we haven't come to terms with inside ourselves. And for this reason, the strongest shield you can possess is a deep understanding of yourself. When you truly know yourself, you become the master of your inner world. No one can affect you without your permission, and no circumstance can rob you of your inner balance. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung introduces us to one of the deepest and strangest theories of the human mind, the theory of the shadow. Jung believed that there is a dark side to our personalities which we bury far from our own eyes and the eyes of others. This shadow does not disappear, but manifests through our reactions to others. Every time we are annoyed by someone's behavior, it may be a sign that there is something within us that we have not yet faced. A part of ourselves that we have denied and projected outward so we don't have to see our own reflection clearly. But how did a man born in Switzerland in the 19th century, when psychological analysis was still in its infancy, come to this revolutionary vision? Jung's journey was not just a story of a distinguished psychologist, but a profound existential struggle that began in his childhood. He escaped his rigid reality into the world of dreams. Later, he faced terrifying visions and voices unknown that almost drove him to madness. From this dark abyss, his theories on the shadow, the collective unconscious, and the maps of the ego and the self were born. In this journey, we don't just recount theories, but dive into fundamental questions. What happens when we refuse to reconcile with our shadow? How does a person's constant interaction with the external world affect their psychological stability? Imagine your personality as an iceberg. The visible part is what you show the world, your values, your principles, and the image you want others to see. But beneath that surface, there is another part, dark and complex. Therein lies the jealousy you deny, the selfishness you hide, and the aggression you suppress. This is the shadow. It is the part we try to bury, but it remains alive, influencing us in ways we do not realize. This shadow begins to form in our childhood when we learn that there are good traits and bad traits. Parents praise kindness and punish anger. Society rewards modesty and condemns selfishness. Thus, we start burying everything that doesn't align with these standards and create an ideal image of ourselves. But where is the problem? What we suppress does not disappear, but turns into intense discomfort when we see these traits in others. Here emerges one of the most important mechanisms of the human mind, projection. For example, you might criticize a friend for being nosy, while in reality, you fear confronting your own emotional needs. Or you might get angry at a colleague for being selfish, while you internally struggle with selfish feelings you don't want to admit. Instead of facing our flaws, we project them onto others. and feel temporary relief because we are not like them. But what if we decided to uncover this shadow? What if we stopped running away from ourselves? Start by writing a list of traits that annoy you in others. Do you hate arrogance, whining, indifferent people? Then ask yourself, have you ever acted like them? You might be surprised that sometimes you do the same thing, but just justify it to yourself. Take a real life example. A man was experiencing recurring marital problems. He constantly complained that his wife was emotionally cold. But after sessions of self reflecting and journaling, he discovered that the real problem lay within himself. He was afraid of expressing his emotions. So he projected this fear onto his wife and accused her of being cold. When he began to confront this part of his shadow, their relationship improved significantly. Thus, the shadow is not an enemy, but a hidden guide, pointing us to parts of ourselves that need attention and understanding. The more we understand it, the more we control our reactions and the less people influence us. But how do we embark on this journey without letting the shadow overwhelm our lives? Here comes the concept of individuation, which Jung spoke about. It is a journey to discover the true self and integrate all the contradictions within us: the shadow, the anima, the animus, and the social persona. This integration is not a luxury, it is a necessity, because internal suppression generates anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. Individuation is the process of opening a box full of repressed memories and emotions, and exploring its contents with courage and curiosity. Start with honest dialogues with yourself through meditation, drawing, or writing. Even dreams, which Jung considered messages from the unconscious, can reveal much to us. Dreaming of something chasing you? It might be a hidden shadow you're trying to avoid. Dreaming of a towering tree? Perhaps it symbolizes inner growth. There are countless real-life examples. A person struggling with lack of focus discovers that their anxiety stems from old feelings of failure. A woman experiencing repeated failed relationships realizes that her lack of understanding of the masculine side within herself was disrupting her inner balance. These are not just philosophical concepts, but practical tools to understand oneself, improving relationships, and enhancing productivity. Although Jung's ideas have inspired literature, arts, and films like Inception, for example, and the works of Paulo Coelho, they have also faced criticism. Some modern psychologists argue that concepts like the collective unconscious and the anima lack scientific precision. But even amidst these criticisms, the profound impact of Jung's ideas cannot be denied. In fact, the concept of the shadow is now used in leadership training, emotional intelligence, development, and even meditation practices. In the end, the anger you feel toward others may not be about them, but about you. It is an invitation to discover a part of your shadow. Instead of letting it control you, face it, understand it, integrate it. When you understand yourself, it becomes difficult for anything or anyone to hurt you. The next time someone's behavior annoys you, pause for a moment and ask, what does this annoyance reflect about me? Is there a part of my shadow peeking through? Is this trait that I hate present within me? These questions might be the beginning of a journey that only the courageous will understand. It is your journey toward true strength, where no one can affect you, because you understand yourself. When you observe emotions instead of merging with them, you discover your truth. You are not your anger, nor your fear, nor that old voice whispering inside you, you are not enough. You are the one who hears this voice clearly and chooses to move beyond it. And here, true strength manifests. To see anger and remain silent, to see insult and not break, to see chaos and stay at peace. Not because you've lost feelings, but because you've found yourself. And in that moment, life begins to change. Not because circumstances have changed, but because you have changed. Awareness is the dividing factor. No one in this world has the power to make you feel inadequate unless you allow them to. True calm does not mean life is without noise, but that you remain steady amidst it. Those who live in this depth are not moved like puppets on the stage of life, but become the writer, director, and hero of their story. They see the whole scene and move forward with confidence, because their peace is no longer tied to the world, but rooted within them. Share with us in the comments, what is the trait in others that bothers you? And let's explore it together. Does this trait reflect something hidden within you